Hello. Today has been 5 years since I had a stroke. It happened 4 weeks after I had my daughter. She was born via C-section, just because I had a high-risk pregnancy. So, yeah, 4 weeks later, I actually had a minor stroke. I wound up in the hospital for 6 nights. Had to go to speech therapy, occupational and physical. But I'm just going to tell you the experience that I had with this, because I'm not sure how many women actually have a stroke after a C-section. It's incredibly scary, especially when you're at home by yourself with your 4-week-old. And yeah, so my daughter did not sleep a lot those first 4 weeks at home in the evening. Anybody knows me, I love to sleep. Sleeping is my thing. So I was extremely sleep deprived, stressed because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to help her. I didn't know why she was always crying. I did all the things that they tell you to do: burp, change, feed. I did all of that, and she just still wasn't as chill as I would have liked her to be. So the night before I had my stroke, I had this little twinkling in my eye. If I was looking directly at you, it was blurring out your face, almost like when you look on TV and they have the fuzzy stuff, but it was like a twinkly, sparkly thing, and then it would just grow into a ring, and then it would just keep on growing until it was out of my vision. This happened a couple times before the stroke. I'm not going to say that that's the cause of it. It's just something that I noticed. So the night before, I was incredibly frustrated, and I told my 4-week-old to shut up, which is probably not the best thing to do, but out of frustration and stress, you say and do a lot of things. So I told her to shut up, and the next morning my husband got up and went to work. Now, mind you, me and the baby weren't able to sleep in the bedroom with my husband because she was up all night and he needed to get rest for work, and I didn't want him sleep deprived as well. So I was just bouncing from the couch to the floor, trying to find a good place to rest. And with her, she constantly wanted to nurse, wanted to be held, and I didn't know what I was doing. It was my first child. So the next morning I got up, started nursing her, started holding her. She was falling asleep, and I felt this whole side of my body go absolutely limp. Now, I'm talking about everything. Like, not necessarily just limp, like I could not feel that side of my body. So even my eye, like I couldn't see out of this eye. So I'm holding her in this arm, thank God. And I just kind of like slid off the couch onto the floor. I rested her down next to me, and of course she starts crying. And I'm crying too because I don't know what's happening to me. I don't know, like, it's a hard thing to describe because you're looking at your child and she's crying and you're crying too, and you legitimately cannot do anything to help her. I couldn't do anything to help myself. My phone was on the couch, And, you know, in a moment of panic and chaos, you're not thinking to yourself, okay, if I just roll this way, I can push myself up and I can get my phone and I can call for help. Like, that wasn't my primary focus in the moment. You know, you usually think about the good stuff after it happens, but I'm just looking into her eyes, and I'm just so sad because I hadn't been as patient and as yeah, I haven't been as patient with her as I could have been. And now looking back, like me telling her to shut up out of my frustration, and the fact that after my stroke I couldn't even talk, kind of is symbolic to me, because I had so much that I needed to say, just like she did. Even though she was little, she has her needs, and I feel like I was knocked back to an infantile state just for that purpose, to actually see that, you know what, you need to remember what it's like to not be able to verbalize. Sidebar, that was a sidebar. So yeah, I'm laying there and I'm just pleading with God. I'm like, please don't let me die here. I can't die here, because if I do, like, nobody is going to be able to find her until 9 hours later. She's going to be starving. She's going to be dehydrated. Like, I just had her. I need her. She needs me. So I start feeling around for my arms, and I'm like, okay, my arm, it was like way over here. I'm like, I don't even know how I did that. And then of course all of this, like, parts of my body are numb, like, so I feel like I'm using the bathroom on myself, which isn't a good feeling at all, because you're like, oh my goodness, like, I feel like I'm using the bathroom on myself, which I didn't, but still, like, the numbness was just causing my body to just do all kinds of weird sensations and feelings. So after probably like 15 or 20 minutes, I regained a little bit of strength on this side, and I was able to push myself up and get my phone, and I'm looking at it, and I can't see out of this eye, so it's, you know, obstructing my vision. One of my friends texted me about something, and I text him back, but when I text him back, it was just letters. There was no way for me to form a sentence, even in typing. And he texted me back with question marks, and then I called my mom. Well, actually, first I called my husband, and he answers the phone. He's like, I'll call you right back. I'm in a meeting or whatever. And he hangs up. I didn't even get to say anything to him. So then I call my mom. And I call my mom, and I'm just like spitting out like this jumble, like, I don't even know, just like trying so hard to say something, but not being able to say it. It's so frustrating. And she's like, what's going on? And of course I'm getting more amped up because I'm trying to tell her what's wrong, but I can't. So she calls my husband, and I'm like, okay, so at least 3 people know that there's something not right. I'm like hoping that somebody's gonna send me some help. So I pick up my daughter, who has stopped crying, and I start nursing her, and I go over and I unlock the deadbolt. And I just go and I look in the mirror and make sure that I didn't soil myself, because I don't want people to come in the house. And I mean, I know that that's not something that should matter, but I just didn't want that to be the way that I was found. So I went and I sat down in the recliner, and I waited. And the first people that popped in the door with the paramedics was our neighbors downstairs, our friends. She was frantic. She didn't know what was going on. She's like, what's happening? And so they had to get her outside and try to calm her down. And then there were several EMTs that actually came in. So they came over and they were checking my eyes, and they took my daughter from me, and they were holding her. And a few minutes in, my husband comes in the house, and looks like he's got like this trying to hold it together, panicked, concerned look on his face. goes over and grabs the baby, and they put me on a sling um, to carry me down the stairs and get in the ambulance. And I remember when I got down to the bottom of the stairs, they turned me, and I could see our really good friend standing at the bottom of the stairs with his arms crossed, serious look of concern on his face. Just a really good guy. We actually named our son after him. So we get in the ambulance, and it's quiet. It's really quiet. They're checking my vitals. All of my vitals are fine. It's just they didn't run the siren. I got to the emergency room, and they come in, and the only thing that I could verbalize was, "I'm okay." Which clearly I wasn't okay. So every time somebody would ask me, I'd say it, and I'd do this. And of course, I can't even explain to them what happened to me. I can't even explain to them that I couldn't see out of one eye and it was starting to come back. I couldn't explain to them that I had no feeling on one side of my body. I couldn't explain to them what happened to me. So it took them 3 hours to contact a neurologist. And she came in, and they ran scans on me. And anyways, I'll talk about the road to recovery later, but I just remember my mother-in-law coming in and my mom coming in and checking on Sophia. Sorry. And when everybody left the room, including my daughter, because one of the grandmothers had her, my husband coming over to me and breaking down. Sorry. Life is a gift. It's every day's a blessing. And there's there is a I guess you could call it a silver lining, because even though every day I'm not successful in the way that I talk to people, the way that I treat people, like, I have an opportunity to wake up and start anew. And that moment in my life was so it was crazy. It was so humbling. It was humbling. 5 years later, I'm still here. I'm thankful to be here. I'm thankful for the people around me, the people that prayed for my recovery. I'm thankful.